You may have heard different motivation or productivity gurus tell you to do a dopamine detox, and your motivation is going to skyrocket. You're going to be able to work every day, all day towards your goals. And while this is partially true, this is a lot easier said than done because a dopamine detox can be extremely difficult to actually accomplish. On average, it takes around 30 days for you to be able to reset your brain if you've been addicted to different dopaminergic habits like scrolling on social media, addictive food, video games, different substances. And those 30 days can be very hard to get through. And so how do you do it? How do you not engage in your old habit while your brain's resetting? And that's what we're going to go over in this video. So you have a couple of different options. And the reason most people fail is because they rely on willpower. They just go into it and think, I'm just ready to change my life. I'm not going to engage in my old habits, and I'm never going to do that again. And very quickly they get cravings, they get stressed, and they turn back to their old habits. And so we can't rely on willpower. What's another alternative? Well, you can replace it with another habit, but can be another fatal mistake, because if you did what I did, you unknowingly replace one bad habit with another bad habit. When I was trying to change my technology habits, I found myself eating a lot more sweets and addictive food, not realizing that those things were going to cause the same problems and lack of motivation that my technology habits were causing. Okay, so those are two pitfalls people fall into when starting a dopamine detox. So what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is actually stacking scientific proven methods and strategies to overcome bad habits and addictions. These tools have been studied and shown to be effective when trying to change our habits. And if we stack enough of these tools and principles, we can dang near guarantee ourselves to be successful and get through that detox phase. And so that's what I'm going to go through at a high level in this video. And if you're looking for more detail on these 6 principles that I'm going to go over, then I have a free guide in the description of this video that you can read. So, principle number 1, and this is the only one that's going to be actually around motivation. The other ones will allow you to make changes despite not having motivation. But we do need to have a foundation of motivation to be able to actually get through the dopamine detox. And that comes from creating a powerfully clear vision. Understanding why you're actually doing this dopamine detox. Because, like I said, this can be an extremely difficult and painful process. And to be able to get through that pain, you're going to have to know why you're doing this. And so there's 2 parts to this. Number 1 is thinking about what your ideal life looks like. What about your future life, or what about your habits is getting in the way of your future life? And so you can think about really what your ideal day looks like and how your current habits are getting in the way of that. And the second part of this is thinking about what would your life look like if you continued down the current path that you're on. And so that's called an anti-vision. And it can be kind of a scary thought, but it also helps motivate us to work towards the vision if we remember that going down this current path is going to lead us to a very bad place. And so a lot of people don't really think about this in detail, and that's a big mistake because you need that understanding in the moment when you're feeling the craving to resist the temptation. All right, number 2 is replacement. And this is extremely important because you need to know what you're replacing your bad habit with. It might be something you do hours and hours every day, so you need something to fill that time or to fulfill the need that it was fulfilling. Often our habits are fulfilling a critical need, whether it be connection to other people, fulfillment, it could be feeling of progress, and we get these synthetically through social media, video games, whatever it may be, and we can find healthier ways to fulfill these needs that take more effort. For example, if you love to cook and you're watching a ton of cooking videos, that's going to spike your dopamine. However, if instead you actually tried one of those recipes and actually cooked it, that is going to take effort. That's not going to spike your dopamine and mess with your motivation. And it can fulfill that need that you have of loving to cook without needing to watch those videos. So think about the need that your current habits are fulfilling and how you can fulfill them in a less dopaminergic way. This also includes replacing things to cope with stress. Often our self-destructive habits help us to escape and cope with stress, and so we need to find replacement activities to deal with stress. All right, so number 3 is environment. And so this is all about making it as hard as possible to engage in your old habits. And this has 2 parts to it. There's the physical aspect and the social aspect. So physical is all about putting barriers between you and your old habit. Like I said, making it as hard as possible, if not impossible, to engage in that habit. If you're able to make it impossible, you're going to be able to get through the dopamine detox a lot easier. Or if you can make it very hard, your brain's going to realize, okay, it's not really worth it to, go to the store and get this food, or, go to this place to engage in this activity. And then there's the social aspect, which is important because sometimes we engage in different habits because our friends or family do. And so we may need to have a conversation with them about our goals, and we may need to adjust our time spent with them if they're not willing to help us, at least for a period of time. Because after you get through the detox period, it's going to be a lot easier to resist those cravings. And you may be able to spend more time around people that engage in those habits without giving in yourself. Okay, so number 4 is mindfulness. This is important because mindfulness allows us to deal with cravings and stress without giving in and escaping with our old habits, without needing to spike our dopamine. And this is a skill that we strengthen over time. And really, it's the skill we need in this modern world. When we're surrounded by things that can spike our dopamine, if we can master this skill, then we can be observant, we can be present, we can resist temptation and cravings. And so there's 2 ways, again, of mindfulness. I like to split this up. There's proactive mindfulness, which is all about scheduling these things into your day to strengthen your prefrontal cortex, things like journaling, meditation, breath work, some type of exercise. These things can allow you to sort of process negative emotions, so you're not giving into stress by escaping. And then there is reactive mindfulness. And this is your plan for in the moment when you're feeling a craving, what are you going to do? And so this could include how you move your body physically, what you're going to turn your mind to. And also this could include urge surfing, which is a practice of observing that craving, detaching yourself from that, And again, I go more in detail about these things in the guide in the description of this video. Now, on to number 5, which is the mind-body connection. And this is also about reducing stress, because stress is such an important thing we need to understand and reduce in order to quit our old habits. And the big ways really to do this is pretty simple. It's taking care of our body through exercise, proper nutrition, and quality sleep. And so really with sleep, it's all about getting consistent sleep, getting enough sleep each night. With nutrition, the simplest way I can say this is just eating whole foods and avoiding addictive foods. Again, that's going to cause the same problem that your old dopaminergic habits are causing. Frequently, these are things with processed ingredients, added sugar, flour, etc. And then with exercise, this is a great way to deal with stress as well as create dopamine, because things that require effort create dopamine, don't cause that crash like things with technology or addictive things do. Lastly, number 6, accountability and reinforcement. And so accountability, and when you think about that, you probably think of having some sort of partner you share your goals with. And this is true. And I have a way, i.e. reinforcement, that makes this a lot more effective. And so you can have someone that you share your goals with, how you're going to stick to those goals. And this could be a friend or family member, it could be someone online from Reddit. And then ideally you want to have them follow up with you, check in with you, and you want to use reinforcement along with this, which this is basically using some sort of outside reward or punishment to motivate you even more to stick to your goals each day. So this could be an activity, a food you like, that you only let yourself do if you stick to your goal for that day, whether it be saying, I'm not going to scroll on my phone at all, then I can get this reward. And the trick is to have your accountability partner make sure you only reward yourself if you stuck to that goal. Now, those are the 6 science-based principles for overcoming and getting through a dopamine detox. If you can stack up these principles, your chances of successfully dopamine detoxing go way up, as opposed to people who just rely on willpower. And so if you're looking for more details about this, check the description of this video and subscribe, because I'm going to be posting more videos about these principles and other ones so that you can change your habits.